From the station that made country music famous, 650 AM WSM, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Hey, it's Charlie Matos, and in this episode, we sit down with Charles Esten, Nashville and Outer Banks fame. Charles is getting set to play the Grand Ole Opry. We would talk about that, share some great Opry memories, and also light the night. 3 wonderful events, all benefiting the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, organization very dear to Charles Esten's heart. Enjoy our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast with Charles Esten.
Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Well, the first volley has been fired successfully by Kelly Sutton, helping remind Charles Esten what season of Outer Banks has just finished shooting. And you stand corrected, young man.
Well, if you saw how last season ended, you know I took a blow to the head. Ward Cameron is not feeling himself right now. So I just walked in here and said, we just finished shooting season 2 of Outer Banks. Kelly said, season 3? I stand corrected. We finished season 3. Yes. What time is it?
You're a method actor. You're feeling the character, right?
Exactly. My head's not right.
Yeah. And so, Kelly, you obviously watch.
Oh,
you're a fan.
Not only are we fans, but my daughter and her entire crew are huge fans. And I have to brag on our friend Charles Esten, because when I was at the Opry my very first night on February 18th, 2022, he was there, and my daughter Reese was there. And of course, you know, she's grown up here, so like nothing is cool except for Ward Cameron. So she looks at me and she's like, can I go talk to him? And I said, yeah. So he takes her over and does a whole photo shoot with her. She sent those pictures to the group text. Coolest kid in middle school. Woo! I'm just saying.
I think you need to check her taste in heroes, because Ward Cameron is a bad man.
But she
I hope there's no Ward Cameron posters on the wall.
And you are such a good man.
So so kind.
What is it about playing those kind of characters that draws you to them?
Well, I tell you one thing. It's actually why I got the job. The guys that produced Outer Banks, Josh and Jonas Pate and Shannon Burke, they called me initially because they had been fans of Nashville, and they thought that Deacon had streaks of anger and had obviously had his demons he was fighting, but he was such a good guy. They said maybe it would be nice to get this guy that seems like such a good guy and bring him, and I know he could be a good bad guy. Because years earlier I'd been on a show they did, L.A. Dragnet, they had done before, and I played a bad guy. So that's why I got to do it, and I was really, looking for something very different. I didn't want to play some sort of Deacon light or some sort of exactly or quite similar character. So it was really nice to go the whole other direction. And it's just been a blast to play this guy and to get to go up against these incredible young actors who are just so wonderful. And we have such a good time. And I think sometimes you have to be really close to really get those fights good. I mean, it's hard to fight with somebody that you're like a little cool with. But when you love each other, we go at it like tooth and nail. It's fun.
Have you actually hit somebody, or you've been hit, or like?
Well, I would say our bodies, we slam into each other. We hit the ground. Yeah, I've been hit. Probably not with knuckles, but we get in there. We like to. We definitely have folks that come in it for the big stunts, but we're really knocking each other around and slamming each other on the ground for sure. But that goes all the way back to Nashville. I remember one of my best friends played Mayor Teddy on Nashville.
I got to scream at him in an episode.
Eric Close. I've known Eric Close for 25 years, and so finally we got to play together on this show. So we had a big fight right downtown, right in the grass, and that was one of my favorite scenes ever. Eric's such a good guy. He would come to town, and he knew everybody in Nashville already. He would introduce me. We'd go to a party, go, oh, this is Chip. He plays my wife's boyfriend. Which was that's Deacon.
So as far as Outer Banks goes, you shoot in Barbados, other locations?
Well, actually, I'm mostly in Charleston. The bulk of it is in Charleston. Okay. The part I won't stop talking about is Barbados. I could see why you could be led to believe we shoot it all there. I shot about probably 5 weeks total, even a little bit more, because we got some tropical scenes is all I'll say. But that was unbelievable.
Well, when you were here early on in the pandemic, you guys had been quarantined in Barbados.
Yeah, back during, was it season 2? Yes, yeah. She's keeping me on track. When we first went there,
it was a great gig. If you had to be quarantined someplace.
Unbelievable. We were quarantined for 8 days in a hotel room, not a big hotel room. It was about the size of this room we're right now. And that's when I found out that my wife and I, we really do like each other.
Little test of marriage.
Exactly. Because we played cards and we just hung out. We actually missed the fact that they let us out of our room by like 8 or 10 hours. Everybody else was out on the beach and we were still up there playing cards, and so we were fine. But
That's amazing.
It was something. It was much better this time without that, I will say. Yeah.
So you've gotten to do a lot of really cool things in your career, and one of the very early things was Buddy over in London. And you posted a great picture of you meeting the Queen, and obviously that's such a big story this week. Would you take us back to that and just what that was like?
Let me just give it a little background by saying that when I started off as an actor, I wasn't like so many that had gone there with years of training and they'd gone through high school productions and college productions. I had been in a band, so I had played guitar and I sang on stage. That's what I knew. The first job I really got in Los Angeles took me all the way to London to play Buddy Holly in the West End musical Buddy. It eventually went to Broadway, but I was only ever in the West End one. While I was there, replacing the guy that went off to Broadway, we were invited to open the Royal Variety performance, the 1991 Royal Variety performance. Diana Ross closed it. So, I mean, already, I'm a 25-year-old kid going, this cannot be happening. This is crazy. They did it in our theater, and it was sort of like a dream. It's hard to imagine. I remember just looking up in the box to the left, and there was Queen Elizabeth II, and there was Prince Philip beside her, and there I am with my Buddy Holly glasses singing Rave On, and the Big Bopper did a Chantilly Lace right before it, and then afterwards they do what's called the Royal Horseshoe backstage. You stand in the shape of a horseshoe, and there's somebody that knows who everybody is, walked beside Her Majesty and came down the line, and he said, "This is Charles Esten. He played Buddy tonight," and we were, by the way, I think we were less than a half mile from Buckingham Palace was where our theater was. And she said something along the lines of how successful the show had been, and congratulations. I hear, that the audiences are loving. So she knew a little bit about Buddy, or had been briefed enough to say that. And I said, well, I hope we're not keeping you up late, because that place was, that rock and roll show, it was wild. They were dancing in the aisles every night. It was loud. And she kindly and gracefully smiled and chuckled and moved on. But she made me feel, I guess it's hard to describe, because you're meeting the Queen of England, and yet it felt like a real human contact with her.
Like you had engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. Where she had engaged, more to the point. Yeah. She was right there, and it was, that was truly something. And just in these recent days, it's been, it's an odd little connection that I have that picture on my wall in my office, and it's rather special to me. Yeah.
Well, as we get to music, we're going to talk about Light the Night, which is coming up later on in the month, and is over a couple of days this year. Go ahead and set it up, and then we're going to play the song.
It starts off at First Horizon Park on October 28th is the Light the Night Walk. This is the walk. Man, my first one was here in Nashville. I think we're coming up on 10 years ago. I started it rather quickly from my involvement at the Opry. I met some folks who said they knew about my daughter, Addie, who, when she was 2.5, was diagnosed with leukemia. Addie now is a 5th-year senior. She's getting her 1-year master's at William & Mary. She plays soccer. She's a Division I soccer. She's strong. She's happy. She's beautiful. And she is the reason my wife Patty and I, our whole family, dedicate ourselves to trying to give back to LLS, the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. So it's an incredible event, Light the Night. A couple thousand people will be out holding their lanterns high, red lanterns in support of those who are battling blood cancer, gold in memories of those who have passed from their battle, and then white. Those are our survivors. My daughter, Addie, gets to carry a white lantern as well, and so many do. And when you see all those white lanterns gather in the middle there and lift them high into the night, you start to understand instantly why we're all there. When we first started out, it felt very alone. It felt very dark. Light the Night, you are not alone. It is not dark. After that, back at 3rd and Lindsley, I'm having a concert with my friends called Light the Late Night. We raise even more money. And then the next morning, very cool, we're going to be having our first brunch
Our morning.
Our Light the Morning benefit brunch at the 404. They've been kind enough to make it so that everybody's going to buy tickets, and this money also is going to go to fight blood cancer. So we have so many people that make the effort to come to town and have worked so hard to raise money. We like to have these little parties, and then we all wake up the next morning and you could use a little breakfast. So let's get together and raise even more. So that's what we're doing for Light the Night. I appreciate you asking about it.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to light it up right now. Charles Esten on Coffee, Country, and Cody. WSM Radio, worldwide on Circle Television.
The glass may seem half empty, but it's sure filling up fast. We're here to change the future from the pain that's in our past. Just because it's always been doesn't mean.
Coffee, Country, and Cody.
So to Charles Esten, an email coming, but introduce your special guest who accompanied you this morning.
Well, I'm very glad to have with me this morning someone who I'm going to have with me tonight on the Grand Ole Opry. This is my very talented friend, Julia Cole, everybody.
Ooh, love that.
And she's been an in-studio guest with us before, and if I recall, you were last here. I remember you zooming in from Arizona one morning.
You and I did one a long time
Yeah,
ago.
like in the early part of the pandemic.
And then the one that I'm like the most proud of and excited about last time we were here was my Grand Ole Opry debut.
It was exciting.
It was the best day of my life.
And when was it? Quote the date.
This July 16th.
Yes.
And what do you remember?
Oh my gosh, it felt like a wedding. I won't steal this whole interview and talk about it. But I'm being dead serious.
That's right, you won't. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
You know what? The only missing piece was that he didn't show up.
Aww.
I was working. I wasn't able to be
He was
there.
like,
Barbados.
He was like, I'm in Barbados. I can't be
I
there.
had been smart enough to have her join me on some of my Opry appearances because she's so fantastic.
He sent me this huge thing of flowers, like huge in the dressing room. It was amazing.
Yeah.
He and Patty did.
Good.
I got to remember that. It was like a wedding.
I'm serious.
Well,
it really
think about it.
was.
Yeah, you're picking out the outfit, and
She
you're
cried.
worried about the hair.
I cried. Yeah, there was like
But
a reception.
There were some
after.
drunk people there.
There were, yeah.
It's all great.
Exactly.
And that was just the cast.
I got married to country music.
Yes, you did.
But Jeannie Seeley, Haley Witters, Daly and Vincent, who are coming to see us a little later on this morning. We the Kingdom, they just debuted at the Opry in recent weeks and are back. Charles Esten, Julia Cole, John Christ, funny man, and one of the newest members of the Grand Ole Opry, Fear the Beard, Jamie Johnson, is going to take us home.
And can we just
tonight.
take a quick second to say, give some love to Jeannie Seeley again? I saw your post. Julia recognizes the greatness of Jeannie Seeley and her big
55 years.
55 years,
As a
and
member.
the more appearances at the Grand Ole Opry than any other performer.
Over 5,000.
Over 5.
Yeah. And you guys share Pennsylvania. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I was born in Pennsylvania. Yeah. I went to my Steelers game this week, and we were so closer than another team I won't mention. But let's move on.
We're not going
Well,
Another
they
topic.
call that
hurt.
area of Pennsylvania where she came from Pennsyltucky.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
so many Kentuckians went up there to get factory work, steel mill work, that they called it Pennsyltucky. She actually wrote a song about it called Pennsyltucky.
Love to hear those accents.
Email Paul Berkeley, Richmond, Virginia. Ask Chip Esten about his days at William and Mary. I was a freshman in the dorm where he was the resident assistant's roommate. He would always sit outside our dorm on the concrete beach and play his guitar. And girls would happen to stop by.
Oh,
And
I see.
Was there another reason to play my guitar that I didn't know about? That's why I put that trombone away in 8th grade.
We had a fun reunion a couple of homecomings ago. It still sounded great. And said you were in a group called Nespa?
Napa, it was
Napa.
pronounced. Yeah, it was just a band we just started in college, and it was one of those things where we named ourselves before we thought anybody would ever hear us. Yeah. So it just sort of meant no at the time. Like somebody, you're going to study tonight, Napa. So I don't know why we chose that, but it's crazy. That was all those years ago, and we're getting ready to play one more reunion this coming up in William & Mary in October. And just to have the guys, we're back on a text chain, talking about the old songs, getting ready to play again. We're going to join a bunch of days beforehand and hang out in Norfolk and get ready to go up and play one more show from that college band. I mean, honestly, it should be a movie. It's like The Big Chill, but we're a band.
So before you sing,
Yeah.
Julia, when you sat down, the first thing you did is you winced and you went, "Oh, my shoulder." So what's going on?
I had a doubleheader volleyball game last night.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so sore on my arm. But guys, we won both games. So.
There you go. Okay.
So that's your sport.
Oh, yeah.
You okay,
volleyball's
though?
my
We all
favorite
right?
thing
We need
ever.
ice? You're getting older now,
I
aren't
definitely
you?
should have iced it, but I didn't because definitely not old enough to have that kind of intelligence.
What are you going to sing for us?
You'll learn. Well, I'd love to sing the song that Julia and I, it's my latest single. She's got a couple out since that, but it's actually going to come out again on Thursday at midnight. The acoustic version is coming out, which you're going to hear a sort of a very acoustic version right here. And that day we have a video coming out as well, just a little thing. Two of us basically see what you're seeing right now, sitting side by side, but it was shot. It was a lot of fun to do it, yeah.
We've had so much fun making content for this song, and obviously writing it was so much fun, recording it was so much fun, but all the videos we've done, it has been so hilarious watching him.
Well, she blows me away. Just, that's what an artist does these days. You make content. I mean, it's not just making the music. They are, and to watch Julia do it, she's a master, a maestro, and I've learned so much from watching her.
You'll have to watch. There's one video that we did of it that he's like, no, I can't do a TikTok. Like, this is past me. I'm not supposed to be doing this. And then he just like steals the
I
entire
put my hand on her.
thing.
I shove her out of the TikTok.
Shocker.
And steals the whole shot. It's insane. It's perfect.
Well, it's going down in real time right here, right now on Coffee, Country, and Cody, WSM Radio and Circle Television.
I promise you right now, I cannot remember the first line of the song. What is it?
No need.
There we go. Thank you. I should have said yes to that coffee. I mean, it's in the
Guys, it's early.
It's in the show title. For goodness sake.
Speaking it out.
It is not water, coffee, and codeine. No need to sugarcoat it. We both know that it ain't gonna be easy.
Now we ain't got no money, running around the country like a band of gypsies.
Every minute, every mile. Long as I can see a smiling face, I know it's gonna be okay.
That's Charles Esten and Julia Cole together on 650 AM WSM, being played on a guitar stolen from the set of ABC's Nashville, as I
Prop
recall.
master is
It
still
belonged to
looking
Deacon,
for
and I'm Deacon, so I don't know if that's stealing. I'm not sure if that's stealing.
Rightful understanding.
I think there's probably a few items from the studio in your house if I were to go look.
Maybe you were insinuating that he's about to steal it from you.
Yeah, I was asking him, I said, man, how long you had that guitar? He said, with the last episode, I just walked off the set.
First episode, they handed it to me. Last episode, I walked right off. They handed it to me, not Deacon.
Light the Night with Charles Esten and Friends, 3rd and Lindsley, October 28th, and then the concert that follows. Then Light the Morning, going to light the night. This year, we're going to light the morning with brunch for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And there's more on the web at lightthenight.org. Thanks for coming to see us, guys.
Oh, thank you so much.
Wonderful
Appreciate
as
you
always.
all, guys.
You
See you
bet.
tonight.
I'll be right there with you, be the one to kiss you in the park.
Thanks for listening to our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Our program director at WSM Radio is J. Patrick Tittle. Our digital producer is Haley Hall. Marketing and promotions director is Amanda Cannon. And I'm Charlie Matos. If you like what you've heard, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And leave us a review on iTunes. It really does help new people find the show.